Okay, everybody. For those of you who don't know, my name is Michael Forrest, and welcome to It's Quest Time. Quest Time is for Oculus Quest users, but all are welcome, so feel free to hang out. You may pick up some useful tips that'll help the ever-growing Oculus Quest community in Altspace. And basically, what we're going to do is we're going to show you how to get the most out of Altspace on an Oculus Quest. All right, and before we get going, if I could direct your attention to that menu wheel in your lower left there, you're going to notice there at the very top of that is a microphone icon. If that microphone icon is clear, that means you can hear what's happening in your environment. We've gone ahead and we've turned that to red, and this means that you're muted. So if somebody comes into your space and says, hey, are you still on that thing? Feel free to answer them because we're not going to hear that. Likewise, if you have a barking dog or something like that, you're not going to face social ruin back at the campfire by becoming known as the avatar that suddenly started barking during its quest time. A little brief announcement, if my voice gets on your nerves, I understand because it's kind of shot. But we're going to do our best to get through it. Likewise, if I suddenly disappear off the stage, I am having very bad internet issues today. And if I disappear suddenly, I will make every effort to return within a couple minutes because it usually comes back pretty fast, like an in and out kind of a thing. It is frustrating enough. So we're going to do our best to work around those things if we can. Let's see here. Yeah, so that's what we're gonna be doing now. When I first got my Quest, actually, if just because you guys are muted, right, doesn't mean you can't express yourself. You're gonna notice in your menu wheels a pink cheeked smiley face. When you click on that, your emoji panel opens up in front of you, and it gives you a wide variety of options with which to express yourself. So, if, for example, I share something really deep, something very powerful and meaningful up here, and it touches you, real deep, touches it, starts to build up, right? You can just let it out. You can just let it flow just like that, right? Maybe I got some backup dancers backstage, right? And, they come out and we break into, It's Quest Time, the musical, right? And, you're all very impressed. You can throw up the applause I live for, and I can take a moment, drink it all in because it feels good, right? But you can also, if I ask you guys a yes or no question, you can say yes by smiling. You can say no by frowning. Maybe I do, or say something funny, right? You can show me that you're laughing by using the silly face emoji, right? That works. And then there's this. This is not how you ask a question. We'll be taking questions and comments at the end. This is how you alert me that there is a problem. Like if, for example, I'm moving my hands around and I look really animated and you think, hey, that's really great, but the guy's not talking. That's the kind of thing I'm going to want to know about. Or maybe the moderators, as much helpful, as they are, they've heard one show too many and they suddenly snap and decide to burn the set down, right? And maybe I don't notice. Maybe I got a giant fire behind me going on right now. That's the kind of thing I want to know about, all right? And it's on you, the audience, to tell me, all right? So like maybe, you've got, one hand up like this. We're going to just keep on going because it's just one hand. Maybe it's just somebody messing around. It can be super distracting, right? But if I see 5 going up at one time, I know there's a problem I need to address. Now you can press the X to close this, but it's a good idea to keep it open because it lets me know how I'm doing. But more importantly, it lets the people around you know what you're experiencing. So if the person next to you starts going like this, that means they found something funny and you may not agree. You might be like, what is wrong with this guy? No, that is not funny at all. I'm going to go stand over here. And you can totally do that because this is VR. Only place you really don't want to stand is up here on the stage with me because, let's be honest, I like the attention. Okay. And so if you, come on up here, the moderators tend to not like that. But, feel free to stand anywhere you want. All right. That's pretty much it. All right. Let's see what else we got going on here. Now, quick show of hands, or emojis, or let me know. How many of you are on an Oculus Quest right now? Let me see some hearts if you're on a Quest. Any Quest users in the audience here? Let me see. All right, good. All right, there's a few of you. That's awesome. All right, cool. How many of you are new to Altspace? Like you've recently joined Altspace. It's still kind of new. All right, got a couple of you, a few. Welcome to Altspace. That's awesome. That's nice to see. How many of you came over from an Oculus Go or have a Go and are thinking about getting a Quest? Anybody, any people coming from Go? Okay, so you got one up there in the sound booth. Okay, cool. That number gets smaller and smaller every week, surprisingly. Okay, so now when I first got my Quest, all right, I was, just hoping to, like just when I was waiting for it, I had been on an Oculus Go for some time. I'd been in Altspace touring all the time, and I grew up in Brooklyn, so I'm used to talking with my hands a lot. And I was really looking forward to getting that second controller because on an Oculus Go, all anybody saw was me moving my hand around like this. And I wanted to really convey how I was moving my hands because for me, that's a big part of how I express myself, right? But when it finally did arrive, right, I took a good look and I realized these are a lot of buttons. They are. It's a lot to take in, especially if you're new, right? So I like to go over this stuff in a way that's fun, because this way, if you've already got a handle on the controls, you can still have a good time. And for the new users who are new to the Quest, they can kind of skill up in a hurry, right? Now, listen, if you're here today, you already know the basics. You know that the left thumbstick's going to move you around like this. You know that the right thumbstick's going to move you in these circles. And when you combine them, you can get these big, elaborate circles that make my presentations so much more dramatic. If everybody could go in these big circles, so every time I look out and I see that, it looks like you're all at ballroom dancing. And I think this is the first time no one is actually doing it. Okay, that's cool. You don't have to if you don't want to. That's fine. You know, I always say I wish people could see what it looks like when everybody does cooperate and do that. And now you can. We have a YouTube channel. If you notice Raven Eye floating up in well, we wouldn't really call that the sky or the air, the virtual air. Yeah, floating above you all. That's our YouTube camera. So if you want to wave on out to YouTube, you can. We got Yee over here in the blue, in the red, flannel shirt. We got that one dude. Right. And I'm not saying that's one dude that's like actually his name. As an Altspace, you can pretty much call yourself what you want. We got Hayden, also known as Mr. Midnight. We've got Hummingbird. We've got Lauren helping us out today. We've got some 1, 2, 3, 4, and we've got Fluid EQ. And yeah, so we got a lot of people in here, and come on into Altspace. I think you'll enjoy it. A lot of fun. All right, now let's go over some of these, controls here. Let's see what we got. Now, one of the main ways that you're going to interact with the environment in Altspace is with the grip button. All right, you have it on your right controller and your left controller, and you use your third finger or your middle finger to press down on it. It's right on the side of the controller there. And when you do this, it's going to allow you to grab basketballs, fireworks, things like that. It's the way I'm using this laser pointer up here right now. Like I can move it from hand to hand. As I move it, you can like twist it. You can stand there and fidget while you talk to your friends. You can do this with a flight tool. There's all kinds of things in Altspace that you can interact with, and this button is what's going to get you there. All right. Another important button to keep in mind is this flat button on your left controller. Because listen, if you're having a room scale experience, for some reason, whenever you walk out past your main menu, right, that's usually when somebody tells you to open it. You're going to like look around and be like, oh man, where is this thing? Right? Where did it go? Where did it go now? Why does this always happen to me? And it's like behind you, right? This can be pretty annoying when that happens, but it's important to remember that you have your main menu in your hands at all times, right? You're going to notice on your left controller, there's this flat button right here. And when you press on that flat button, your main menu is going to open up in front of you. So you don't need to bother with that blue and white triangle button anymore. I don't even use it myself. All I do when I need to open my menu is I flick my hand out like that and press that button. Right now, my menu's open. I flick it again, my menu's closed. I do it like that. You don't have to do that flick thing. I just think it's just cool to do. Yeah, look, I see somebody doing it. That one dude's doing it, right? He's just flicking his hand out like that, opening and closing up that menu like that, right? So you can do that, and that helps a lot. Another thing you gotta keep in mind is that while these are a lot of buttons, keep in mind that some of them do the same thing, right? You're going to notice that this select button on your right controller and this right trigger, and if you have your left pointer enabled, this select button here on your left controller, they all do the same thing. So that's 3 buttons you don't really even need to worry about. If you squeeze your right trigger right now and move it through the crowd, you can see the V in the corner right there. You can see the Hummingbird. You'll be able to see everybody's name tags. That's how I know everybody's name so quickly, right? And you can do that too. Another thing you have is on your left controller, you've got this left trigger right here. And when you squeeze it, if you're walking or flying, it's going to cause you to go faster, right? I can throw myself down in the audience, right? And we can, start going in this big circle here. If anybody wants to join me doing these big circles, feel free to do it. We can make a hurricane, we can make a tornado, we can go in circles, right? If you're feeling dizzy or sick, it's probably a good idea not to do this thing, right? I'm the only one doing it. All right, got a couple people doing it. Okay, let's see. What does this look like? All right, audience, I'm very disappointed. There's no formation, there's no shape. All right, okay, I see how it is. You guys want to be like that? I get it. That's fine. I'll keep going. That's fine. But you know what? You really let me down, audience. You really did. That's not circular at all. You're moving. That's good. I mean, I'm impressed with the fact that you're moving. That's good. It was better than the ballroom dancing bit, but really, come on, I, as your host, deserve better than this. I do. All right, now what else do we have up here? We have your teleport button on your left and your right controller, right? Right next to the thumbstick there. When you press this, if you aim it at the floor, you're going to see a target appear, right? And if you join me up along this wall here, and I'm hoping you're in a line dash teleport because that's a real fun transition. It feels like you're flinging yourself across the room. If you don't know how to do that, I can show you after the show how to do that. But what you do is if you point and hold down on your right controller and you aim across the room, you get your target over there. And as soon as you let go, boom, you get flung right across the room. Everybody, come on, teleport on over to me and see what that's like. Right now, if you hold down your left teleport button and you aim it at the floor across the room, the second you let go, boom, you get thrown right across the room. Another cool thing you can do is you can hold down both teleports. That's right, both teleport buttons at once and make an X on the floor. And as soon as you let go at the same time, you'll zig. Well, apparently I can only zig. Let's try that again. Zig, zag. There you go. You get kind of a zigzag motion when you do that. Another thing you can do is if you face the stage and you start to walk backwards, right? Hold down that left accelerator trigger, right? And teleport at the floor, and you'll be doing the Altspace moonwalk, which hopefully is not a trademark problem or copyright infringement. Another thing you can do, right, which is pretty cool, I learned this a little while ago. You always learn new stuff in Altspace. You're going to notice too, like I was one time I was down in the audience, that's my bit, I come into the audience a lot. And what happened was I had to get back on the stage in a hurry, right? And I was surrounded by people and everything. So on reflex, I don't know why it never occurred to me to try this before. I held down that teleport button, I put it over my shoulder, and as soon as I let go, boom, I was thrown backwards. So you can teleport backwards with your right or your left controller. Right, let me try a little left hand action here, see how that works. Yeah, just like that. You can teleport backwards, which is a lot of fun, pretty neat. And it gives you some options with movement, right? Another thing you need to worry about if somebody's willing to help me out with this, if somebody willing to like lift their height, change their vertical height up a little bit. Anybody willing to do that? No, not going to happen. All right, well, what happened was the first time I came into Altspace, right here's somebody doing it. Yay, that's awesome. Press down your left thumbstick and show everybody what happens. Boom, just like that, right? Now, if you're feeling like that your vertical height is off, you feel too tall or you're too short, all you do is press down on the left thumbstick. The first time I came into Altspace on a Quest, I went to the campfire, I tried it out, and you know what happened, right? I walked into that campfire and everybody was shorter than me for some reason. I didn't know why, right? And somebody told me, just press down on your left thumbstick like it's a button, and that'll reset you, it'll even you out. The only thing you gotta keep in mind is if you're looking down while you're doing it, right, it's gonna lift you up. It's centered to your head, right? So what you do is you look straight ahead and then press the left thumbstick, and then you go down and it'll recenter you and that'll adjust your height, right? So that's one cool thing to keep in mind. All right. Another thing that you have to keep in mind is, let's see, with the teleport button, right? There was one time I was at the Universe, and back then it was held in a really large world, right? And I walked up to the edge after the event was over, and I'm exploring, and I fell off the world, right? And I'm falling, and as I'm falling, there was a cliff over to the side, and I reached out and I aimed my teleport button at it, right? And my teleport target. And as soon as I let go, boom, I was thrown right on top of that ledge, right? To safety. Now, I mean, it's not like you can get hurt in Altspace, but it did save me from respawning. And in that moment, I knew I was starting to get used to the controls. And you will too. It only takes a few days to about a week to get used to things. And, but there's going to come a point where while you're always going to feel the plastic in your hands, there's going to come a point where these feel like your real hands. Like if I go, hey, everybody, look out that window. I'm not thinking about how I'm pointing. I just do it, right? And the way you do this is you squeeze down your middle controller button, right, on the side there, the grip button, and it's going to make you point. And you can give me like a Brooklyn hello like this. That's one thing you can do with it. Hey, how you doing there? What's your name there? Hey, Daniel, thanks for doing that. Very cool. Now you can put these together and you can make the Altspace logo and you can hold it up high, show a little bit of Altspace, Altspace love there, right? Maybe you can put them together like this, kind of make a picture frame, make this moment last forever. If you squeeze your trigger button, it'd be like, you're snapping that photo. It would be great if you could take screenshots like that. Be like, yeah, you're a beautiful audience. There you go, snap, snap. It's like that. You can do that. If you're holding down your trigger buttons, you can get two thumbs up like this. Tell me I'm doing a good job. Maybe I'm not. Maybe I'm not that great today. Maybe you can tell me, well, Michael Forrest, this is so good. Two thumbs down. Maybe you could give me a little bit of both because you're not sure how it's going to go. Maybe you could put them together like this. One of the first Quest times we ever had, somebody was going like this when up against a stage like that. They came up to, from the audience and they stood up and they were going like this. I thought that was pretty cool. And that's the best way to pick this stuff up, right? If somebody does something cool, something that you like, all you have to do is copy them, mirror them, and you'll pick up all these gestures in no time at all, right? Another thing you can do is if you're holding your grip and your index finger down together, your trigger finger, both of them together, and you got the two thumbs up, if you touch your thumbs to the buttons or the thumbsticks, you're going to notice your thumbs start to go down. Maybe you can combine that into like a cool dance move, right? Do it like that. That can be awesome, right? Wow, that one dude is really into it. Look at him, he's all frozen up there, hovering on the ground. He's just focused. What's out the window? What's he looking at? Oh, he's looking at the big red button. That makes total sense. It fascinates me too. At the end of our events, we push this big red button. Something really cool happens. All right, looking forward to showing you that guy. And apparently, that one dude is really into it. All right, cool. What else do we got here? And there's another button you need to be aware of, and this is the fastest route out of Altspace, but it's also good to press when things go wrong, right? Like occasionally you're going to notice in Altspace when you turn your head, the whole world moves with you, and that can make you feel kind of sick, can make you feel kind of dizzy. Oh wow, Daniel, you're holding him up. That's awesome. All right, don't let go, Daniel. You hang on to him, all right? Make sure it doesn't fall. That looks awesome. Very cool. See that YouTube? People care in Altspace. All right, come on in. It's good in here. All right, but yeah, what can happen is, like say somebody comes into your space and tells you dinner's ready, something important like that. The best route out of Altspace, and don't press this now because you will disappear, is this flat button on your right controller. And when you press this, you're going to have a choice to quit or resume. That resume button is great if you press it by accident. If you're at the Universe and you're dancing around, you're having a good time, right? Like it's prone to happen there, right? What's going to happen is if you accidentally press this button, your avatar is going to just freeze. Just like that, right? And, you'll press that resume button. You'll come right back into Altspace and be like you never left, right? And you'll keep on dancing. You're like, I don't think anyone noticed that. I don't think anyone saw. And you can just keep on going, right? But it's also good to press this button in the event that things go wrong. Like if you look to your left and you see this black void and you're like, uh-oh. And then you look up, you look down, you look to the right, and the black void's all around the edges, and all your friends are frozen in space very dramatically like that one dude, right? And they're all just frozen like that. And you think, oh, something's gone horribly wrong, right? What you can do is press that flat button and press exit and restart the app. And this is going to solve most of the problems that you have in Altspace. But one of the things that can happen is, let's say, you press that button and nothing happens. You'd be like, Michael Forrest lied to me. That's not what's going on. Sometimes your device can freeze. It can happen in other apps too. And the best thing to do about this is to restart your headset. And I used to restart my headset while it was off. I take it off to restart it. And if it's plugged in and it's not in a charge cycle and it's not going to light up, right, and it takes about 20 something seconds to restart, you can get the feeling like your device is broken, like nothing's happening, especially if you're in a rush and that 20 seconds seems to seem like forever. So I got in the habit, and I can't recommend doing this enough, restarting the device while it's still on your head. And the way you do this is you put the headset on, right? And you take your index finger and you swipe it along the side there. You're going to feel a raised button. And then you take your index finger in your other hand and you squeeze them together right on the side of your device. And it helps, I find, if you look down like you're concentrating in a deep concentration pose. And after about 4 seconds, you concentrate so hard that your avatar just disappears, right? And you get plunged into the darkness, but you don't let go. You hold on, man. Don't let go. After about 10 seconds, what's going to happen, right, is that you're going to start wondering, why did Oculus make it take so long to reset the device? Doesn't make a lot of sense. 15 seconds go by and you start thinking about friends you haven't seen in a long time. You start thinking about, life and the universe and stuff like that. The big question. 20 something seconds go by and all of a sudden you see the Oculus logo emerge out of the darkness like a bat signal. And then it starts to pulse, right? And when it starts to pulse, you take your fingers away like that. The device will restart as normally. And this is going to solve most of the problems that you're going to have in Altspace, not only Altspace, but in your other apps as well. All right, it's a great way to get things going and fixed. What can happen from time to time is something more serious might go on. Like there was this one time I left Altspace and there was a message that said Oculus Home is closing. And I was like, really? What is that? I've never seen that before. And there was a blue button to say, okay. So I said, okay. And then the screen just said loading. Well, I didn't know what to do. I waited about 2 or 3 minutes. I did my deep concentration pose and I reset the device and it still said loading. So I went and I asked my good friend, Google about it. We go way back and it always helps me out. And Google said a lot of people were having this problem. A lot of people were having this issue. So what I did was basically what they suggested was a factory reset. Now, if you do a factory reset, you have to keep in mind that if you have any pictures saved in your device, you're going to lose those, right? And you have to reinstall all your apps. Good news is you won't have to pay for them again, but right, you may lose like some important stuff, like your settings or maybe even your Beat Saber scores, right? It's very bad. You're going to see. I know it. It's shocking, right, Daniel? I was terrified. But if you have no choice, this will allow you to put the device back the way it was when you first got it. And I think it's important to know that it is an option, right? Let's see. Also, let's see what else you can do. Now, if you are here today, you're already familiar with your Guardian system, right? You danced with the robot, you played with the blimp, you did the tour, right? You know what the Guardian is, but you can use it to your advantage in Altspace. You absolutely can. Remember earlier I mentioned that feeling when you turn your head and the whole world moves with you and you feel dizzy, right? If you get dizzy in VR, especially if you're new to VR, the best way to deal with it is take a look at your hand, right? I know that's not your real hand, but it gives you something to focus on. And when you focus on it, the dizziness passes and you can slowly take your hand away. And when you do, take in the world around you, and that should help it pass. But do you know you can also use your Guardian system to do this too, right? You can, right? So you're messing around, you're having a room scale experience. I always tell people when you mess with your Guardian, be very careful because, you see this in Altspace a lot. Someone will be walking along and all of a sudden, boom, they hit a wall, right? And you can actually see it. You actually see them bounce off the wall, right? And you don't want to hurt yourself. You don't want to damage your device, right? So if you're new to VR, lead with your hands. And when you do, right, you'll come up to, the edge of your area there and this grid will appear in the air in front of you, right? And what you can do is you can still move your thumbsticks around. So if I walk up to my real world wall right now and I see I've got this grid in front of me, right, I can hold it in place with my hands and still move my thumbsticks, move my avatar around in VR, and I can walk up to this big display here, right? And what I can do is I can line up this display with my real world wall and form kind of an anchor or a frame of reference, like a reality anchor. And I can walk on over here, and what I can do is I can fall off the stage. Oh no! And I can fall into the audience. And if you guys don't mind messing with me, stick your hands in my face, try to make me dizzy. Give me the worst you got. Like really, try to just mess me up. All right, let's see what you got. All right, I can still see the display. You're not really a big crowd. I've tried this with 40 people and I don't even flinch. And the reason for that, the reason I don't lose my words, the reason I don't lose my sentences is because I can see that big display behind you guys. Right? No matter what you do, I can see it. It's just huge. It's really difficult to block the thing. I can see it and now I have a frame of reference to the real world. So nothing you guys can do, even with my space bubble off, nothing you guys can do is going to mess me up. right? You're also going to notice it doesn't have to be something big like that either. What you can do is you see the edge of the stage here, maybe you can line this up with a real world table or a real world desk or something like that, right? And you'll be able to do it that way. And this can really help create like an anchor to the real world that'll help you feel more stable as you go acclimated to VR. So I think it's important to know that. Right. Another thing you can do is that you can switch between a room scale and a stationary experience pretty effortlessly in Altspace. So if I'm like, you know what, this is my second event today. My net's been flaking, nothing's going right. And I don't know if I could do this anymore. 300 events in Altspace, and it's just too much, right? I need to sit down. I'm tired, right? What I can do is I can walk up to the edge of, my guarding system. I can make sure I've got enough room to stick my head through, or I can use that new experimental feature with a double tap. You guys tried that yet? So I double tap the side of the device. I can see the real world now. I see I got my coffee right here. I can take a sip of that and I can throw it down the mug, right? Because just, that's what I'm doing, right? And then I can look over there and I can see I've got my chair there in the real world. And I can walk on over to my real world chair and I can sit down in it and, get comfortable and then press the blue button saying I want to have a stationary experience. And when I do, right, I'll find I'm still in VR. The only difference is I'm down this low now. And you guys know, you press down on that left thumbstick and I'll pop right back up, right? And and it'll be like I never left. I'll still be in Altspace. And this works in the other direction too, right? What happens is I was at an event one time when I was moderating, and the event was almost over, and I felt like getting up and walking around, right? So what I did was I got up and I was going to walk into my guardian system. But sometimes on the Quest, you'll find that your Quest can lose your guardian system because of changing light levels, and it can't resolve where it is. And it figures it's just easy for you to just paint another boundary, which is ordinarily true. But when there's 2 minutes left in the event, it's super stressful. Right, so I'm sitting there and I'm drawing up my new boundary, right? And I'm thinking, why is my area so big? And of all the times I had to moderate for an admin and Lauren, why did it have to be today? I don't know. I really don't know. And then all of a sudden the grid closes and it comes up, grid comes up out of the ground. And I find not only am I still in VR, but I'm still in Altspace. I never left. All anybody saw was me frozen, having an out of avatar experience like that, frozen, not moving at all. Right? Kind of like, that one dude is like floating in the air like that. Kind of looks like that. Yeah, that means, and you can tell just by looking, he's not, that one dude, he's not really here. He's not, he's just floating up in the air like that, but he's not really here, right? And that's what can happen. But you can transition back and forth from a room scale to a stationary experience. And that's good to know because this way you can be comfortable when you're in VR. Like if you're at an event like this and you feel like sitting down, you can. If you feel like getting up and walking around, you absolutely can do that, all right? I mean, of course, be careful. You don't want to injure yourself or your device, but you can transition back and forth. It only takes a little bit of practice and you will get used to it. All right, another cool thing that you can do, and this is not useful at all, it's just cool. What you can do is you can go up to the edge of your, the end boundary of your system there, your guardian system, and you can, hold it in place there, and you see that grid in the air in front of you, you got enough room to move your head through, right? Just make sure, because you don't want to get hurt. But when you move through and that pass-through camera goes off, there is a sweet spot where you can see both realities at the same time. You're going to notice if you go really super slow right through it, what's going to happen is you're going to be able to see Altspace avatars in your real-world environment. And that's awesome because it gives you a sense of a scale about an avatar. You can see that Altspace avatars are about 6 foot tall and they're a lot wider than you'd imagine. And once you see them in a familiar space like your living room or your office or wherever you VR from, once you see that, you're going to notice that, hey, this is what avatars really look like. When you see them in the real world. And again, that's not useful. It's just cool, right? Okay, so what else we got here? Let's see. Now, the great thing about the Quest is it just works, right? And doesn't mean it can't work better. There's some cool accessories that you can get that really help out the experience. You're going to notice, like, those earbuds that you can get for the Quest that kind of dangle down there. I don't know what I look like in VR, but I like to think when I wear these things, I look fancy. They're kind of like earrings for your headset, right? And the first time I wore these, I wasn't expecting much because the sound on the Quest is pretty awesome. You've got crisp sound, you got no feedback or anything like that. But I figured I'd try them out. I put them on and I go to the campfire and there's a breeze in the campfire. No, I've been here about a year and a half now. Nobody told me that, right? I walked over to that fence and I heard the water rushing and I was like, wow, no one told me that either. Turns out there's a lot of rich ambient sound in Altspace that can make the experience a lot more immersive, right? And, so it's cool, to try this stuff. Also, I've heard that people say that the Quest is uncomfortable. There's a lot of people who feel that way. I know people who have returned the device because of this, and it's simply not true. It turns out, and Oculus doesn't do a good job of advertising this, there's a breaking in period for the device, right? When I first got my Quest, I got a sore on my forehead from using it. It turns out that the oils in your face will actually soften the face insert, and it'll change the balance of the headset, right? There'll come a time, just like with the controllers, there'll come a time where this just becomes your hands. Well, your headset, there's going to come a time where it just becomes your eyes. You're not going to really feel that you're wearing it anymore because you get used to it, right? And the oils will soften it up. But what a lot of people will do is when they first get their Quest, they'll modify it with an external battery pack, or maybe they'll use like a counterbalance or something like that to shift the weight around. And then in a couple of weeks after it's broken in, the balance is going to be shifted again, right? And what's going to happen is they're going to be left with the impression that it's uncomfortable, and it's not. But if after a couple of weeks of use, right, and you still think it's uncomfortable, what you can do is you can get something like one of these inserts that the VR cover makes, and that's like having your face in a pillow. It's really nice, and then you can do things. But give it a chance for the device to break in. You want to make sure that you'll get used to it there, and then you'll get comfortable with it. Now, you also have these prescription inserts that you can get if you wear eyeglasses, because listen, if you scratch your eyeglasses and your VR headset, that can be pretty expensive. All right, so this is a good preventive measure to take to do that. All right, also, speaking of protecting your device, the box that the Quest comes in is awesome. It really is. But if you're going to be moving around, traveling a lot, having one of these travel cases is a really good thing to do to protect your device. Because if you're in Altspace a lot, you've made a lot of friends in here, you've built relationships and stuff like that. If something happens to your headset, it's not going to be like losing your toaster, right? It's going to be, you can experience it as an actual loss. Like say I'm friends with Kaz here, who's got this really fantastic shirt here. And I'm like, oh no, I'm never going to see Kaz again. I'm never going to see that shirt again. I don't know how to go on. I can't do it anymore, right? So yeah, but basically you want to protect your device. If you want to try out any of these devices, you absolutely can, right? These, preferences. What you want to do is you go to altvr.com. You're going to notice up in the upper left of the page, there's going to be a link that says channels. And when you press on that channels link, you're going to see a list of all the Altspace event channels, and among them, down toward the bottom, you're going to see Ravenhall events, like it says in the sound booth up there. And when you click on that, you get taken to our event page, which is lots of cool stuff. On the left-hand side, you'll see all of these products, links if you want to try any of them out. You're going to see the join Discord button if you want to ask questions or hang out or help us put on events like this. Or what you can do, right, is they also keep another very important button on that page. It's the most important button on the internet. That's where they keep it. It's true. It's the subscribe button. And when you press on this, what's going to happen is it's going to let Altspace know that you enjoy our content, right? Which is great. Another thing is, we don't get paid to do this. So every time that number goes up, we feel good. And it's a great way to say thank you if you enjoyed today. All right. Now, that being said, we are going to be taking your questions, your comments. Maybe I didn't mention, an accessory or something that you did and you want to talk about it. You absolutely can. Right. Let's see. So what we're going to do is on your lower right, you're going to see a raise hand button appear as if by magic. It's true. That's magic. It's what magic looks like in VR. All right, now I get to feel like a radio host. We've got Hev. Hev, you're on the air. What do you got for me, Hev? Where are you? Where are you, Hev? I don't see you. Speak to me, Hev. Yeah, I can hear you. Where are you? There you are. In the pink hat. Hev, what do you got? Well, you got a question or something? What's going on?
Yeah, I was just curious. Like, I've been having mic trouble lately. Do you know how to troubleshoot the mic deck?
There's a couple of things you can do. You can look through the settings in the Oculus main menu, right? Occasionally there have been Oculus Quests that have been released that have kind of iffy microphones. If it's really bad, right, what you can do is you can write Oculus, and they're great about making exchanges and stuff like that. That can help with that. Another thing you may want to do is play with your microphone level. Like if you point at your microphone right now, you're going to notice that you have it from 1 to 3, and on the Quest it tends to be pretty low. You might want to raise it up a tiny bit. That can help. Right now your sound sounds pretty clear though, so I'm not really hearing you having an issue. And it's tough because listen, in Altspace you really can't hear yourself talk. You don't know what you sound like in here. You have to rely on other people to tell you. But you know what? We got some good news, right? You'll notice Raven Eye floating up in the air. That's the YouTube channel. We post our videos within about a week of the episode. Keep an eye on YouTube. As a matter of fact, why don't you come up here toward the stage right now, right? Because I'm going to give you something that most people in Altspace don't get. Come on up, as close as you can. Turn around, face Raven Eye right there. Just turn around and look. You actually get on the stage. Wow, that's impressive. I didn't know you could do that. All right, cool. Well, look out there, right, and look at Raven Eye right now and say something. Just say, hi, my name is Hev. Something like that.
Hi, I'm Hev.
All right, cool. Now, if you go on YouTube in about a week or two, you'll be able to hear what you sound like in Altspace. And most of us don't get to see what that's like. I was in here for practically a year before I learned what I sound like. Right? So now, just by talking to me, you'll know what you sound like. And you'll be like, you know what, that's not bad. I could hear my voice. I just heard myself say awesome. It's pretty cool. So keep an eye on YouTube. You don't got to watch the whole thing. Just fast forward to the end, write down the date and put the date on it, and you'll be able to hear what you sound like in Altspace. So there you go. All right, now I don't see anybody else on the list. So what we're going to do right now is we're going to unmute everybody, right? And what we're going to do is we are going to press this big, red, beautiful, shiny button that I love so much. When we press this, right, what's going to happen is we're going to take you guys flying to the Ravenhall Flight Academy. If you have any questions or comments, we can take them there. All right, and when I press this, you're going to see a Ravenhall Talon hovercraft fly down the street right here. All right, you're going to see it fly by, and you can actually fly these ships in Altspace if you want to give that a try. If anybody wants to help me, they can. Just come on up here and help me try to press this button right here, because sometimes it sticks, right? And give it a good push, right? Anybody want to help me with that? All right, cool. You don't have to, but that's fine. All right, I'm going to press this button, and what you're going to see is oh, there we go. 3, 1, 2, 3.
Ravenhall Talon aircraft en route to your position.
Here it comes outside the window. You see it flying by. It's going to go up over the trees out back, and it is going to go land down in that backyard. If anybody wants to come join me at the Academy, you're more than welcome. Come on, let's head on out. And if you learned anything here today at all, please tell everybody you come in contact with. So if you're in the campfire or start traveling in Altspace, somebody's like, looking at you and they're down low, and you're like, what's wrong? And you're like, I'm stuck in the ground. Tell them to press on that left thumbstick, and you'll feel better. You'll feel better. You help somebody. That's how we get the thing. All right.
Talon aircraft is now boarding outside for transport to the Ravenhall Flight Academy. Please exit the building and step into the blue light. Thank you.